Hello, this is former U.S. President Barack Obama, and I approve Tavern talk.
Yeah, welcome back.
So-
And we're starting it off with teaching this old guy youngster words. Hello, fellow kids.
The converted Gen Z.
No.
It's gonna be awkward if I start saying these words. But anyway, yes, I wanna learn. So yeah, I have Riz. I don't know what the hell is bet. I have a big idea.
Answer is
Just
that.
call it.
When someone goes like, "Oh, do this thing," and you like go, "I bet," or I'll write bet," then like, it's kind of like, sure, I'll do it. Watch me do it. You know, like,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, I have a word for RM. How about the term "let him cook"? Do you understand that context? Not in the literal sense.
Okay. Well, I understand first in the literal, but if used figuratively, I would say, let him do it because he's in the zone kind of thing. I was.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird. That's accurate. That's accurate.
Yeah.
What
Okay.
a nice
Cap.
way to start off a
Or-
D&D podcast.
See.
No cap.
I don't know. Okay.
Look,
No-
when a
no-
lot of
no
people are like looking to try.
Wait.
No
No
cap.
cap.
No.
No cap. What? Okay, I'm thinking literal. Wala siyang sombrero. I don't know.
Cap means lie. As in lie. Kapag sinabi mong no cap, it means that person is telling the truth.
If someone says they're capping, that means like they're not
Lying.
sure if they're telling the truth,
Yeah.
or like they're lying.
Where's the deriving of the cap? Initially, here's what I think. When you mentioned no lying, I suddenly thought, oh, no cap. Maybe it's because is it referencing Captain America or something?
The
Okay.
etymology of the terms are very weird when it comes to like Gen Z stuff. Like, napansin ko yun.
It's like
Slang
hip
is weird. Look.
Upon Googling it.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
like
I'm
language
a student right here.
Here's a fun thing. I mean, like there's this one like creator I watched or the streamer that I watched who like got really fucked over by like YouTube like censoring shit. So like he did a thing where he like tried to censor everything with the word YouTube, sort of changing what the word YouTube means. You know, like like YouTube could mean either like a swear word or like something like really good. Like if you're gonna say, "Oh, you fucking YouTube," no, oh no, I said fucking, so that defeats the fucking purpose. But like if you go, "Oh, you're YouTube," that could mean so many things depending on like how it is for that community. So like every single group has their own like slang and terms and everything. That's just how like, language develops. As for how it develops, well,
I guess it just needs mass adoption.
yeah. Like
Okay.
if someone starts it, you know.
While we're like on this train, right? Because I am curious because RM brought this up. What about lit? That's like the most simplest one.
Lit?
Do you know what lit
Lit is a little
means
bit of
in
an
the
old
context
term.
Yeah.
in Gen Z?
Yeah.
Oh, lit. Maybe straight up like cool, on fire.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
What are the simpler
Good.
ones?
Yeah, that was simple.
Which we can extend this so when we say something is fire, then you know,
Yeah.
like when this shit straight fire, then it's sort of like along those same lines if you really think about it.
Question. How about
How about what now?
teeth? Wait,
I'm writing down the words. I don't know. I haven't seen the word. I'm just writing down.
Develop like a personal urban dictionary.
Yeah, it's like learning a new language. So when you guys talk, you usually like it's already casual for you guys. Like just slip off the tongue kind of thing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It's like paano ba? You go.
Yeah, better.
Okay.
Yeah, but going back to that, in like
Going back.
in like conversations when it comes to using slang, I don't know, it feels natural kasi like we grew up with it, you know. in a way. That it's a culture that like developed around us. So that's why if like older people use it, it's like really weird, you know?
Yeah. Uh, Yeah, it's still like uncomfortable for me to like speak Riz. Like I'm gonna Riz that.
Riz.
Yeah, I can't have the proper diction and proper pacing on saying the word Riz.
I mean,
Yeah, it's still rough on my tongue.
as a Gen Z, I think you're passing on that, you know, that jurisdiction.
Hurry. That's
Riz.
good. Need more
So
practice in
you
the
have
mirror.
your natural Riz, RM.
But I won't be saying time soon, so I'll just keep that first.
You're going
Hey,
to
boss.
your boss.
Nice
I'm
Riz.
going to rip you up.
You're gonna be so Riz.
That's gonna be weird. Well, maybe that would resonate with the newer members. I don't know. I'll not try. I'll be like my mom. I remember my mom used to try to do millennial speak before. Really awkward.
Oh yeah, it's exactly that feeling.
Yeah.
Millennials speak.
Yeah, because they had like different vocab din noon, diba?
Sabagay, yeah. Yeah.
I
So I
mean,
think, yeah, nandun na siya sa threshold na pala yun.
hindi, pero like from what I understand, because the like yun, like the previous words that we talked about, that's like a global thing. But if you look at it, dito sa Pilipinas, there are like terms that are just for us then na like other countries don't have.
Sige nga, yeah.
And
What's one thing na exclusive Filipino Gen Z word?
yun, wait, I'm trying to think of one because I know that there is and there
Hindi lang
are.
Gen Z word eh. Ano eh, parang may specific terms. Di ba?
Oh, may specific terms. And
Wait.
the way how Gen Z Filipino slangs work is we took inspiration from you guys, from you millennials. Kasi up to this point, as like a college student, I still hear people, especially within the area that I'm studying in, no, still say the word batsi. Batsi na ba tayo?
Oh, yeah.
Bats eh.
Which is like let's go
Alis,
Yeah.
in English.
alis
Yeah.
na ba tayo? Ganun.
Yeah.
Kasi it's Filipino for sibat. Yeah.
In English, I think in a Gen Z slang, that would be dip. Like, let's dip, guys.
Ah,
Yes.
okay.
Let's dip.
Yeah.
On that note, there's also drip, which is one letter up, but it's like
It's the coffee
entirely
thing?
Oh yeah,
different word
that's
about
different.
clothes and about yeah.
Oh. When you
It's
say
like
drip, I always associate it with coffee.
Oh,
So
I
yung
see the
word na
hobbies,
sin-
RM.
Pero drip is more on the fashion wear.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like if you see someone like wearing nice clothes, like Gen Zs would definitely say like, oh, you have nice drip. Oh, that drip is fire.
Dang.
But
Okay.
there is a cardinal sin when it comes to like to using Gen Z slangs is that you never put two slangs together right after one another.
Really? Oh.
Like at least like I think that's personally what I see. Like no one does that. It's like they use the slang and then they talk normally, and then they use the slang and then they follow up normally. But you don't
Yeah, because like
yeah,
if,
it's like
if you're using like slang like back to back to back, then it's kind of clear that you're like really going, hey fellow kids, you know?
yeah.
Okay.
Hey, hello kids.
It's kind of clear that you don't like you're not used to using said slang.
Yeah.
I see. I'm taking notes. I'm really taking notes, actually.
This is the assimilation of RM into Gen Z.
Hell.
We're calling it out here.
It's not only that. As a
One day-
DM, that is gonna be a helpful
Yeah,
tool to
that is
make
true.
NPCs more natural, especially when I
Yeah.
run NPCs who are kids or teenagers.
Yeah, actually, that's true. And
Definitely
I'm
training.
gonna be watching for them NPC. Oh.
Can you
Because,
stream
I
that
mean-
RM kapag ganun mangyari?
I can, yeah. Kasi I just realized the games that I run with CJ or GG that has kids, and those dialogues of kids really sound like real adults. really existential kids. Kids would have existential crisis.
The old soul.
No, no. And I
Old
was
soul.
like,
It's
that's
like
not
all the
that.
kids are just like having old souls.
Yeah.
It's
And I
like
was
we're
like,
Can you
that's
showing
not
really
our
argue?
true. That's
Okay,
not
you,
natural, man.
to be fair, you can get away with it a little bit if you say it's like an elf kid or something.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
true.
fine. Yeah,
Or
It takes them off.
yeah,
Hindi.
or
Hindi pa din, hindi pa din.
nobility along those lines.
oh yeah,
Nobility, yes.
nobility can. But then if you want
But
like a natural noble, like spoiled, I think Gen Z speak or Konyo speak can still ano to.
Oh my god, that's like the fastest speed run way
Oh.
to make your players hate a single character.
Ah, talaga? Ah, so you guys hate Konyo?
Yeah.
Ah, damn.
wait, hate Konyo?
No,
Right.
it's like wait, how do I explain this? So having that in, and I think we can like I
It
can
could get
pull
annoying, right?
from
Like,
one of our games that we ran back then, GG. You joined in a little bit later, but it was like the first campaign that I did within like the setting of Tales of Hestria. So there was this basically this character, not necessarily Konyo, but you know that like those vibes of that spoiled rich kid type of deal, you know, that very
Oh,
prideful.
Yeah.
And it's just like an
I get what you're
instant hit
an
to like
an
end
actual
them.
brat.
Yeah,
Ah.
Instant hit yun.
yeah.
I can
Mm.
feel you.
So that means
I mean,
if you guys met me in college, then you would hate me.
Oh my god.
If you guys met me in college. Because
I mean,
before,
okay.
Konya language is kind of like normal. We didn't see it that. I guess yeah, it's
How-
a thing siguro.
I guess it's like also how severe is the conyo, you know? Like,
Oh, it's not obnoxious. I guess it still follows the same rules with you guys on using a slang and then speaking English and then Taglish a little bit. So it will still sound natural and still understandable.
as someone who's like, slash.
But I also know
I
how Konya language is like exaggerated. I mean, during those times, because the typical Konyo archetype is always like this semi-drunk rich kid. Yeah.
That is
No, that
so
makes sense.
true.
Yeah. Because I guess the
Yeah.
etymology is as well is because, I mean, if you're in Taft, because I'm from DLSU, and when I was studying there, we only had 4 days. So Monday to Thursday. That's why we call it Happy Thursday kasi Friday walang pasok. So every Thursday, and this is also part of what happened on my life, I kept cutting my Thursday classes.
Oh my
Basically, a whole day, the whole
Idol.
Thursday, I'm just
Idol.
in beach, which is the nearest bar. Back then, wala pa yung ordinance sa Metro Manila na bawal yung mag-serve ng drinks near schools. Because before, yeah, parang after beside the building, meron na kagad bar dun. They call it beach. And yeah, pag Thursday, 8 pa lang ng umaga nandun ako. Then I would just drink an entire day.
Wait, 8 ng umaga?
8 na umaga. Yeah, because that's my first class.
You start drinking then?
Yeah.
Bro!
Alright,
So,
ipo po.
yeah.
Uncut to uncut tong part na to.
Yeah. It's fine. It's like, yeah, it's like one of those skeletons in my closet that it's easier to let it out than people finding out when they get to know me. You know what I mean? Kasi I learned that the hard way as well. So yun, since ngayon yata, di ba, bawal na yung mga... Kaya nagulat na rin ako with yung culture na of clubbing with college students is, lalo na sa Taft area, DLS, UCSB, you guys go to Poblacion na or BGC.
Kasi wala nang...
Kasi wala na, di ba? Yeah. Nice.
Well, okay. As someone who somehow was able to cram their entire 4 years of college into like a span of 3 months nung nag-start yung face-to-face ulit, There are some places near Taft that are still functional, and they're quite near the school, like about like 15 to 30 minutes away, where you don't entirely have to go to Makati.
I
But yeah, there are still places.
okay, pero I guess 15:30 that's already like
Some.
pinaka-compromise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pero kasi yung
Yun,
beach
for
kasi it's like just
Sesame.
paglabas lang dun sa building. Sa tabi nun. Yun na,
Ah.
inuman na.
What was that? Was that CJ?
Ha-
You, I
Paano mo
think-
nasabing
sige, sige.
functional?
Okay. So,
Wait,
one
I'm
place.
intrigued.
Yeah. Okay. So one place that I know is that in the morning they're a cafe, and then they turn into a bar/club at night, and it's pretty popular there, especially with
Oh,
Lasallian
Kind of.
students.
Oh, you know the name?
Yeah. It's Ellipsis.
Mm.
AJ, cut this. I need this info for myself.
Wag ka
Yeah.
magla-record dito, Gigi.
Hey Gigi, don't
Wala.
worry. If you want to go there, I know someone who can like reserve you.
Bad.
Ayun.
Oh my god, baby.
If you want to go to, sorry, mag-advertise ako. If you want to go to a gym near your school, CSB, may client ako, gym. So, handle ko yung social media accounts nila.
Wait, yun yung pangalan nila, Jim? Is that the name of the gym? Jim?
Saan siya? Sa
No, no, no.
university mo? Or like,
Easy
or
Fitness.
gym talaga?
Oh, Easy Fitness. No, it's Easy Fitness.
yeah,
Okay.
Wait,
Oh my
what?
god.
I feel like I've seen that somewhere. Like, is that just
I
like
think I've
along
seen that. I
that
think I've seen
road?
that. Yeah.
Yeah, sa may ano lang siya, sa likod lang siya ng CSB. Ang alam ko.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I have seen that.
Then,
100%.
dami na
Then there's
bago sa
ones.
taas.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Ano
god.
tayo napunta dito ulit?
We were like
Uh,
Gen Z terms, and then this.
Yeah, transition lang.
Nice.
Season na.
From
But,
Gen Z
okay,
to
sige, go.
college.
Going into D&D, sige, let's incorporate this
Okay.
into,
No.
into our
Before
realm
that,
of
before that.
expertise.
Before that,
Here we go.
Sige, go CJ.
welcome and please introduce yourself.
Hi, hello,
Di-
okay. So,
We've been talking
yeah,
for
sorry.
21 minutes now.
Yeah, we've been talking for 21 minutes. I have
This.
Hi.
How did you get in
Hi,
this podcast?
hi, I am
Sino ka ba?
I'm Sesame.
Please introduce
Sino nga ba
yourself.
ako? That is a question that we all ask. But yes, hello. Hello to all the listeners out there. I am Sesame. I'm currently the DM of the Wooden D20 channel, where Gigi is a part of actually.
Yeah.
We're currently doing a 4-part mini series called Tales of History of Crowding Sakura, where it's taking place in this sort of Oriental East Asia type of kingdom. But other than that, experience wise, when it comes to D&D, I probably say I'm fairly new here. Because I started at the start of the pandemic. And yeah, just continued and took a short break when college started, when the first semester of college started. But about like a 3-year experience in DMing, and very very crazy on the homebrew. Very crazy. That would definitely be my defining feature.
Nice.
Nice.
Well, at least welcome to the hobby, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's good that you guys stayed. I
Yeah,
mean,
It's
like-
fucking fun, bro.
Yeah, it's fun. And
It is.
the thing is, I have known about Dungeons and Dragons since I was like in the 9th grade. That was like around 15 years old. But
that was what year?
I was like 20, I'd say like 2017
Oh,
that I've known about D&D, but I didn't know the specifics of it. It was more so that I had a vague idea of what the game was, but never had an incentive to dive into it, because it's not necessarily like a well-known thing, especially here.
oh yeah. Here it's not. It's like very niche and very underground. You could say,
Yeah.
especially when I think here in the Philippines it was 4th edition that was sold by Neutral Grounds here. But 3.5 and before, yeah, you gotta buy it in the US. shipping and all
Yeah,
that.
so we
That's why it's so.
yeah, that's why we're like just so locked from it, I guess. Also, it's an expensive hobby then, like any other hobbies out there. Especially if like you want to go on, how do you say, a purist route, I guess.
Oh
Without like
yeah, yeah.
even
I
like
know that.
buying the books and whatnot. Yeah, of course, to support the company. But yeah, it's a very expensive hobby,
It is. It is.
and only a select few stores sell them. If I'm not mistaken, Fully Booked is the one
Yeah,
that
fully
Yes.
booked.
sells.
Yes.
We get a lot of
Actually,
fully
when it
booked.
when
We
it
D&D
got
book.
when it became fifth edition, yeah, fully booked, and other libraries suddenly, especially also National Bookstore went and ride as well with the fifth edition.
Oh,
Pero
really? I didn't
Yeah,
know
Or
so
that.
otherwise,
National
it was
Bookstore.
already before the pandemic. Before the pandemic, those were like it was like the
especially for like
prime
100% for the month.
prime like selling of fifth edition. I mean,
Oh.
in terms of metrics, fifth edition D&D is really the most profitable D&D has been. All the profits of first till fourth edition dwarf fifth edition, even if you combine all of them. So fifth edition really
Yeah.
is their gateway, especially to everyone else.
Yeah.
Before we
Monster
talk about
manual.
like D&D, like deep into D&D, di pa tayo tapos sa magpapakilala. So we're done with Sesame. So yeah, GG, go ahead, introduce yourself. We're going
Huh?
tangent here.
Yeah,
Okay, no,
just
no,
rolling it
we've
right
been here
there.
for a while. I mean, what
Well,
can
might as
I
well, di ba?
say? I'm on the Wooden D20. Like, I can't say a lot about DMing. I mean, I've DM'd like for like a couple friends and like one shots
Still
that some will
waiting.
never
Still
fucking
waiting.
finish because I'm pathetic in terms of that. Yes, I know you're still waiting. Please, I need an excuse. I have no excuses.
Yeah, in
For it
addition
every
to that,
day.
Gigi is my homebrew consultant because she is great at dialing down the insanity that is my brain.
You got a job,
Fun
girl.
fact: during the really early days of like making his homebrew, right? There was one
Oh my god,
spell
not this
that
one.
he made for this race. Yes, there's this one spell that he like added for like this race because like you know how like yeah innate spellcasting shit like that, right? He forgot that he was looking for Earth Tremor, and thank God no one used this one. It was like a Dewata that was like set in like or from the mountains and everything. That's like the kind of race that he made. But yeah, he forgot the spell was Earth Tremor or something similar, and instead gave that race Earth, which is a level spell. So
No.
baby DM Sesame
Yeah.
had a time. Like yeah, I mean I've been looking into like making subclasses and like races since like I've made one like a couple people are playing it now in our most recent game and I still like want to sit down and like make more, especially after like some things that have come up where I'm like so that's why that's like sitting in our homebrew doc that's like waiting to be finished because I'm still trying to figure out how that works. But yeah, like I'd love to like make shit for D&D. Like if I'm not running things, then I'm definitely more on the making things for it, you know? Like making like straight up content for it that would be on like one day to get something in the DMG, that would be a fucking blast.
Yeah.
Like when I say I mean like DMs go, you know?
Yeah, DM's good. Yeah, the best
Yeah.
resource for every like aspiring, DM or those who want to add supplements. Actually, yeah, since we're diving in a little bit, yeah, later on we could talk about like the history of D&D before reaching today. And what's interesting when I look back or also watch the video who also did it, we're almost like a roller coaster. We're like repeating some things that happened before. Like, yeah, we could get into that. Okay,
So
DJ.
RM.
Oh,
Ah,
me first?
diba?
You first? Oh, I can go first.
We've been
Okay,
through all this, we haven't done any introductions yet. How many
yeah, we
episodes are
haven't.
we in, bro?
I don't know. I don't know.
I think fourth.
So anyway, what was it? Okay,
Yeah,
my name is RM, and yeah, I've been a DM since 2012. One favorite moment siguro that I could say when I did face to face before was it was also unintentional. I'll just share it. So the party is in a dungeon. They're supposed to, you know, traverse and collect something at the end of it. And for DMs, the treasure happens to be ano to, scroll of resurrection, basically. Yeah, that was already noted. But I didn't expect, or that session, I didn't expect that a player would die. Pero someone did. As in, failed talaga the saving, and then dead talaga. And the party was so devastated. And that was also the best moment kasi by that time they reached the treasure room and I told them that they have the scroll of resurrection. It's funny rin kasi so when one of my player died dun nung sa session na yun, he really left the room. Kasi parang he doesn't want to be like, I'm dead. He said, I'm dead, so I don't need to hear the conversation of the party or what's happening. I'll just leave the room. I'll take my Yossi break and call me if something happens. Parang ganun. Sinasabi niya. And when they finished the dungeon and got the resurrection scroll, one of my buddies went out and says, "Oh, come back in. We brought you back to life." Then he was excited to come back after a Yossi break. And he asked okay, what happened? And he said, "You're resurrected." And great, then what's my character? Then one of the party mates said, "You're in a suit of armor." And that was like, what the fuck, why? Because we put your soul inside the suit of armor. So it'll make you look like the brother in Full Metal Alchemist back then.
Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was fun and everyone is enjoying it. Yun yata yung one of my like pinaka-fondest early days of me DMing, and then parang everything suddenly fell into place. Yung parang sumakto yung drama, sumakto yung pacing and the revelation and all that. Ayun lang naman. Just putting it out there. Okay. Marami ako sinabi. Okay, CJ, you're up.
So, hello. It's your boy, CJ. Ano bang share ko? Ano ba? Naging interested ako sa D&D way back then pa. I think during the pandemic, pero wala akong mahanap na group. Then, long story short, inaya lang ako ni RM here. Nakita niya ako sa Facebook page. Then, sa isang Facebook page na hindi na lang natin papangalanan. Then, after noon, nag-start ako maglaro with RM, then GG, then Edgy, and the others sa main campaign. Then, hindi ako ganong katagal pang nagdi-DM since I only started DMing noong February. So, wala pa.
I thought I would be the newest here. Okay.
So, wala pang 6 months, I guess. Wala pa.
100% no. Happy not.
Okay.
Wala pa. But I'm enjoying myself. But right now, I really want to play. I really want to find time to play. My schedule be like, so yeah,
Scheduling
that. I just really want to play, dude. Frustrated. So
be like
now,
that, bro.
Man. And with introductions out of the way, so what do you want to talk about next?
well, and
Here's the thing.
Wait.
Okay, actually.
go.
I had a thought, kanina. When we were like talking about like how D&D is as a hobby and like it's sort of expensive, and like it's like I watched a thing recently where they did this thing on D&D Beyond where they're making it straight, like they're really taking the transition to be fully digital. And they have recently made it so that the things that can be bought in D&D Beyond, when you buy like there, you get the digital copy and the book, but you can't just straight up buy the book anymore from D&D Beyond. So they're really like forcing it to be digital talaga, which I find interesting, considering before supposedly they had like a little section on like where to buy books, and there was even a thing that said like, oh, their local game, like your local game store and everything. But now it's just like, they're taking that monopoly, making it fully digital, and like changing that scene a lot more.
Yeah, the way I see that move is they're trying to invite the younger generation. I mean, historically rin kasi D&D books don't sell that well. What do I mean? Historically rin, yeah, since we're going that deep here, every odd numbered edition of D&D, it does well. But even numbers fail. The odd numbers 1, 3, and 5, and then the even numbers 2 and 4, yeah. But then I kind of like 4. Pero I get why the community hates it. It comes down kasi of how they designed the game. First edition, it was almost like fifth edition, customization all around, and yeah, I can do this, homebrew that, do this, do that, DM, you can just call whatever. But then, as the game grew, there are like this segment from the community that wants, how do you rule this? What is the ruling for this move? What is the ruling for that? I mean, my DM does this. Is this legal? They keep, there are players na ganun that keep asking TSR back then, na anong ruling nito, anong ruling diyan. So that's why sa second edition, which people also hated, kasi yun naman sobrang heavy sa rules na. As in all like meticulous na down to the T, na parang lawyer ka talaga doon. If pa sa DM, pag na-master mo yun, like wala nang loopholes or wala nang debate. Parang ganun. So that's why second edition kind of sucked. And then come back to third edition, 3.5, and balik na naman sa customization. Like, let's see, like, 5th edition, they do this, do that, homebrew, and all that. And then, yeah, back, meron na naman part of the community na parang, how do you do this? What's the ruling for this? And that's when 4th edition came in, MMO style na. They took it video game na talaga. They said the back, si Wizards na yun eh. They said, let's make it video gamey, MMO, since that's like a ruling na can encapsulate a lot of players and have a game design of multiple play styles. And sa 4th edition, siguro I would say the favorite part ko rin yung minion system and the skills challenge. Other than that, it was very tactical. It's like Final Fantasy Tactics. Like, the cone measured talaga, yung sphere measured talaga specific metrics, and yung cover system, it's almost like Warhammer 40k, na parang may penalties when you attack with range or even with melee. As in, it's like Warhammer 40k talaga, 4th edition. And that alienated a lot. As in, a lot talaga. Kasi ang daming i-memorize talaga. Lalo sa for a player, ang daming jargon, lalo pa sa mga spellcasters. And then 5th edition, here we are. I guess ito na yung golden goose of everything.
I mean, okay, like everything is a lot more streamlined now. Like that's a good thing, or in a way that like it's a lot more accessible to people and such. But like it's interesting how they're limiting it to only online when D&D started off as like something that's like meant to be played in person, especially with all like as we've done before,
yeah.
and like having maps there and everything. Like it's a tabletop, but they're making it not a tabletop game,
Yeah, yun na nga rin eh. And then
So
they're also introducing like their Tailspire version.
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that
Outline
one too.
data.
Yeah,
I think naman to like shed a different perspective when it comes to why Wizards of the Coast and why D&D Beyond would decide that move. Kasi I mean, personally, I think it's not necessarily to abolish the face-to-face tabletop setting, but it's more so to promote the utilization of their app
Ayun,
rather than kasi when it comes to face-to-face, go back. Like the purest mindset of D&D. If you write down a character sheet, it is so tedious that you would have to spend hours
That is
doing
true.
that. To write down
Ayun,
all the
yeah.
things that you
Everything.
have.
Yeah.
if you
Like
if
all
you
the
didn't like
yeah.
summarize every single feature into like a sentence, you're kind of fucked. If you're writing
Yeah,
everything,
and
like, oh, okay.
it's
And
it's like more so the way that I saw how features were written down into like the physical copies of character sheets would be their source book, the page and the page they're in. So if ever they need to
Yeah.
consult that, they would flip through the book.
Yeah.
So
True.
that could be a reason why they're pushing a more like online system in terms of character creation. But that could be taken in a different perspective than like with what you guys said, especially with rolling out a virtual tabletop maker in a way.
Yeah.
Kasi at that point, there is a lot of ways that could affect the community then? Because the D&D community is like so diverse. You have you have those who are essentially content creators, which are in a way the face of D&D in mainstream media. We have Critical Role, we have Dimension 20, um we have the
And
cosplayers
like
that are very
representation in
notable.
shows like Stranger
Yeah,
Things.
yeah, exactly. And then you have those who are the craftsmen within the community, those who make in like IRL three-dimensional maps, those who sculpt and mold, who 3D print, who paint minis. Now if you go in like a purely digital setting, you affect the craftsmanship essentially, you
Oh yeah,
know.
that's true.
Kasi like it's either they take a very very heavy blow in terms of what they're doing, or they transition over to making digital assets for that for that specific map maker. So it kind of in a way shuns that part of the community.
Oh,
And if
that's
that does happen, I don't
True.
know, it's a very hard hitting case, especially like with what we saw with the one D&D, entire controversy
yeah, yeah,
with like changing how monetization goes. That hit the
yeah.
sector of the community that were homebrew makers, that were supplement
That is true. Yeah,
makers. Like if I'm not mistaken, creators of Grim Hollow were also like very verbal in terms of their statement of regarding that, because monetization
Before.
wise, it is true that D&D is making, or like Wizards of the Coast is making less money than they should regarding the entire revenue of what D&D makes as a whole, with like third party and
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
And for a big corporation, especially the board members, they would be like, why, if this is happening, what can we do to funnel the money to us, which is a bad move. And I mean, thankfully they resigned the push for that.
Yeah. So speaking of that nga, on that drama, that is equivalent or parallel, not exactly, pero a parallel after TSR, where Gary Gygax, in first edition, when it sold well, they were also giving out licenses before back then. And then when it comes to second edition, that's when TSR questioned na parang we are not making money. We are giving any licenses away, that we need to at least charge those who use our content. And yeah, that's why they hired lawyers. And then that's when like the purge happened, as in lawsuits left and right. Just that's the same with what happened here with third party content creator. That was like between first edition to second edition. Pero it was so harsh back then na TSR filed for bankruptcy kasi that was like a witch hunt talaga. That's the community was divided, that they renamed TSR to $T$R para lang hindi mag-search, mag-ding sa search. Kasi they were purging talaga. As in like, kunyari, for if back then you guys played yung Tales of Hysteria nyo, Tales of Hestria nyo, ipa-flag talaga yan na parang you need to pay to be able to use that content. And yeah, yun yung same was what happened here. And then the olive branch to forward yung history ng D&D is when the OGL was made. That was already when TSR was bankrupt, Wizards of the Coast came in to buy TSR, and they had D&D. Wizards of the Coast got rich dahil sa Magic of the Gathering eh. That's where they got their cash cow first, and then they said, oh, let's acquire D&D. It's also interesting kasi back then, sa first edition ng D&D, yung makers ng Games Workshop were the ones also interested in adding supplements to D&D. But Gary Gygax was a little bit more purist and was like, I won't make money with like modifying my game. But then lo and behold, yeah, third-party content creators sold more than D&D before. And yeah, that's why siguro ang difference lang ngayon with 5th edition and how Wizards are doing things is they are now listening. Back then, so first to 4th edition, they were adamant talaga. As in money, have to please the shareholder. Ayun yung feel ko yun yung nasasad rin ako sa game designers kasi you have to balance the funness of the game while still making money. Sometimes it's hard to create something fun without the help of a third party or the community. And then yung business side naman is you need to extract money from the community somehow. And the question is how nga. And yeah, it's always boils down to yun nga, since this is like a literature type of thing, it comes down to yun nga, yung lawyers and trademarks and the terms used. So ayun. It's an ebb and flow. Kaya nga, I see nga itong happening right now. We're like in a roller coaster. Back then dun sa Wild West talaga ng D&D, that's when Pathfinder emerged. And yun nga rin ako, on my crystal ball, I'm assuming there would be like this another fantasy tabletop RPG that could rival D&D in the coming future. That's how I see it as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's the forthcoming of it is already there. Like we all know this. Critical Role is going to be releasing something within
They're
those
releasing
lines,
something.
which is going to be very weird because they're in partnership with Wizards.
Ayun rin, diba? Ayun rin, yeah.
Yeah. In a way, it's either they make that and then Wizards backs that up, and they're going to be like, oh, we have two systems that you can pick and choose, on what you want.
They
Or
won't do that
it's like,
though, 'cause they won't do that though. Because like
Yeah,
I
obviously
know.
it would have to be critical that would have to adjust instead of
yeah, no,
Wizards, right?
because CR
Yeah, but-
has their own company when it comes to releasing games. I kind of forgot what the company name was.
Yeah. They have the Darrington Press.
Yeah, there we go. Darrington Press. So it's most likely that's where that's going to be rolling out. It is so funny, that you like brought up how Wizards now are listening to the community, and I feel like the reason to that is they're working so much closer with content creators that are the direct vocal vocal point person of the community, right? Especially like with Crit Roll and how they essentially like work so closely with them
Yeah.
that like not necessarily that the two are inseparable, but you do have to notice and see that they've been there since what? Has D&D been sponsoring them since? Because I know that in campaign 2 they
D&D
use
Beyond? Yeah, the D&D Beyond pa lang dun sa campaign 2. But campaign 1, no, that was traditional 5th edition.
yeah.
But even
Pero
then,
ano
like
to,
I mean,
pero interesting nga lang parang you can look at it nga in a way na is Pathfinder 2 kicking themselves na parang why didn't we push Critical Role? Kasi I know Matt Mercer planned to run campaign 1 in Pathfinder before they transitioned to 5th edition. So I was like, I'm feeling for Pathfinder right now na parang we should have pushed a bit. We could have pushed.
Kasi it was
Parang malaking magiging push ng Pathfinder
yeah.
kung yun ang nirun ng Critical Role for their first campaign.
Yeah, diba? But yeah.
It's like the way I feel like I can understand naman why Pathfinder was so adamant on doing that, since essentially in a way CR was it was sort of in that experimental stage, especially during like campaign 1, where D&D campaign creators, content creators, where like
Or
they
actual
stream
creator.
wasn't like an actual solidified thing within the community. What was solidified was again, those who made supplements, those who were crafting, and those who made like general content during those times. But full on streaming a campaign, like showing how it's done, showing the narrative, it's more so like it's a different scene, because you can make your own homebrew world. You can make your own homebrew setting, do these specific things, and share it with your players, and it will be fine because no one is judging you. The moment that you stream that and it's in the eyes of the public, there is an extra layer of eyes that can nitpick every single little piece of shit that you have, which is dangerous but can be rewarding as well. If they like it, great. You have viewers who will follow the narrative, follow the story. It's kind of like watching a series, a fantasy series on like Netflix.
Yeah.
But if on like the same side of that, if they don't like it, or if they, especially like going on a side tangent, na especially with like the the cancel culture that has developed throughout the years, putting that in the context of D&D, where it's like a fantasy world and it would take a lot of inspirations from the outside, um especially in cases of death and narratives, kasi it's a very very thin sheet of glass that D&D creators are walking on for them not to completely end up in shit.
That's
If you
true.
like even going back to a thing, like even like for crit rolls like system, right? Like there was that probably still is even that controversy where like yeah, it's very similar to this one game, which like not a lot of people
Oh
like know
yeah,
about,
yeah,
but
yeah.
like yeah, like that's like a prime example, I'd say, in terms of like trying to keep things
What
like
was the
the
game? What was the
original.
game that they took the liberty of copying?
I forgot, to be honest, but I know that that was like a thing. Or whether or not they deliberately copied it is like another thing entirely. But like if ever there was inspiration ever taken from that game, well, I'd say like it would be okay if they did it. It's just that like people got outraged when that happened, and I don't know, because yeah, you take a lot of inspiration from a lot of different things. As long as you're not straight up plagiarizing something, then that's how like that would be better. But
Yeah.
like if you're like taking like ideas from various different places, seeing what doesn't work, and this just happens to be the one that works, or like this also, if not that, then this happens to be the one that you want to play, for example, then I guess that's also a factor there. It's a very different thing
Oh
that's
yeah.
like
I mean,
if that
I would say lang siguro the worst enemy lang kasi ng right now with that issue with crit roll nung ito sa new system nila. It's partially the fans rin. I think they're expecting some high brand new talaga. Like never been made or really fresh.
Mind-blowing.
Oo,
it's
parang
really
ganun.
hard to make something
And
original
it's
these
hard nga.
days,
It's very
guys.
hard.
Hard.
Yeah. Which lalo na especially with tabletop RPGs in general. It's there's not a lot, or if not, it's really hard to make something from scratch.
There's
The
so many
easiest
ways.
and fastest way is to take notes and inspiration from other existing material. Kasi the only one that started from scratch, I would say, is first edition D&D. Kasi I remember Gary Gygax and yung co-author niya, I forgot his name, they were playing like, back then, it was only wargaming. And yung wargaming yun is what militaries use to depict, represent like armies. So they were playing that one day, and then they got like this. Ang representation pa nun is like yung mga red bricks, mga brick. Especially if you guys know Game of the Generals, it's almost like that. And yeah, Gary Gygax was just like, what if aside that we control armies, we just try to control like a single soldier? And they toyed with that idea, and they tried it on previous mga game conventions to try it out, and that's when first edition D&D was made. And that was, I guess, the birthplace of tabletop RPGs. That's like the initial big bang of the industry from there. Kasi from there, that's when Games Workshop emerged. Kasi they worked rin with sila Gary Gygax. That's also when Pathfinder emerged. That's also when DM's Guild emerged. And content creators nga of, I think the first supplemental book campaign that was made was something Guild. It was kasi alala ko may one time may someone, may DM na nagpitch kay Gary Gygax na what if we make like my campaign like a supplemental book to D&D. But then Gary was hesitant to add it kasi yun nga, they were focused on just giving out the player's handbook and DM's book, basically the rules lang, and any supplemental, it's kind of hit or miss. But then, well, lo and behold, it hit kasi it was an entire campaign almost for a lazy DM. You just pick that book up and you can run it. It's a campaign, start to finish, less prep work, you know what I mean? So it flew off the shelf. And ayun, yun lang yung ano to. Like the big bang of this industry that we have right now, which is so big na.
Yeah. So like today, there's only so many ways that you can switch up a D20 system or a D6 system or a D10 system or a percentile system. There's only so many ways today. Now that so much stuff has been made, you know? Like it's hard to just
Unless we think of something. That's the challenge right there.
Yung pinaka-challenge din, thinking talaga.
Yeah. Kasi right now, maybe we are trying to reinvent the wheel, which is tabletop RPGs. It's hard because you already have established rules and established but then if you try to find like address something that the tabletop RPG hasn't addressed yet, then that's something to look into.
to reinvent the wheel, there are two things. Either you know the wheel fully, or you don't know the wheel at all, you know? So that there's nothing to like base off or like take, like, it's one or the other, right? Like, if you know the wheel entirely, then you're gonna know what's missing. If you don't know the wheel, you're not gonna get any ideas from anything from said wheel. And hence come up with something completely new. So, like, now that we all have the idea of like TTRPGs, like the only way to really like make something new is to like know it in and out. That's how Crit Role got caught because either like because they took from the wheel and like people that knew the wheel better were able to find out. Shooting
I guess
and
what
like
Crit
stuff
Role
in the
did
first place.
was they just gamified or presented D&D to the internet. I mean, who would have think streaming your live game was something? I mean, hell, when I was DMing before, I would just go face to face. It didn't even cross my mind to say, let's video our session and post it on the
With
internet.
set up cameras for
Yeah,
recording.
yeah. I mean, they just used the existing tools and address the issue nga, or the problem that D&D has always been like this private event of you and your friends in a room enjoying your own story. And then Crit Roll, what they just did is why won't we share our friend group story to the world? And that's what they did.
I mean, besides that, they had like added layers then that worked in favor for them. Like your entire friend group is made out of what well-renowned voice
Yeah,
actors.
industry
In
voice
the
actors.
Professionals,
Yeah,
entertainers.
Yeah, professional. Like
Mm.
you're a professional entertainer. You work in the industry. I remember that they had like before they made the Critical Role channel. They were already like streaming on a somewhat well-off-ish channel.
Oh,
Geek and Sundry.
Geek and Sundry,
Yeah,
yeah.
Gig and Sundry.
I've been following that for board games. They usually do board games before
Yeah.
like board game reviews. But they're
So like a lot of things besides the main idea of it, because much like how online content or like YouTube content works now, like everyone and anyone can pick up a camera, start recording themselves, and then post it online. It is simple to do. What's not simple to do is how to entertain, which what they got to have prior experience of. So it's like in a way that's their charm to them. And that is how currently like D&D content streamers try to emulate, is to entertain. Because there is like a brand new rise, and I just like wanna pull this up, that a lot more YouTube creator centric D&D campaigns are going out. If you guys are familiar with Slimesicle, that
Oh
the
yeah,
the
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
they have their own D&D campaign out right now. And for those who don't know who Slimesicle is, he is a very like well-renowned YouTube content creator with like millions of views on his videos, and he's a streamer. Um and he in this group he collaborates with other content creators, like other YouTube or Twitch content creators. I remember a time where OTV and Friends had their entire thing regarding D&D, which also boomed. Moist Critical also did some D&D.
talaga?
Uh,
I didn't know
yeah,
that.
he did.
Really?
He did. He
Wow.
did. He was basically playing that who the hell is that Sesame Street character, the one in the trash can?
Oscar the
Uh,
Grouch.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, Oscar the Grouch. Yeah, like a rendition of that. But I remember it's like a troll or something. But yeah, besides the point. Yeah, there like is a push right now for like content creators to like just picking up this hobby and then streaming it. Who else? PewDiePie also had an interest with D&D, but he never showed it online. He just like mentioned it in a video that he was doing. Even showed the player's handbook that he had. What else? So there is like this almost like saying like a second wind of flow when it comes to D&D content creating, which is why it's so hard to break through this scene in a way, because you have to like think about what sets you apart between all of the dozens to hundreds of
Oh, that's
channels out
true.
there
Yeah.
who are
Who's trying to do
doing,
Critical Role,
yeah,
basically.
who's like doing the exact same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, like
Yeah.
what do
That's
you
true.
bring to the table? Because so we can say like the two main giants out there when it comes to like D&D content creating, Critical Role and Dimension 20 are distinct from one another. Critical Role does more of a traditional like setting where they sit down, they play D&D, they role play very well, and
Yeah.
the viewers are engaged and hooked with that. Meanwhile, Dimension 20 makes use of theatrics and how that sort of engages the viewer in terms of the editing, like a
Yeah.
higher
There it
emphasis
is.
on editing.
There it is. You mentioned.
Yeah. I mean, also to share with Dimension 20, some of the new players, actually yung mga players that I had nung Conquest, I was shocked that they got introduced to D&D with Dimension 20.
Mm.
So there are more newer players entering the hobby via Dimension 20 than during the peak of
Mm.
5th and Crit Roll. Kasi
Yeah.
I remember before when Crit Roll was the peak, the Mercer effect was really
Oh yeah. Mhm.
really high up
It's
there.
it's still a thing. It
Well,
is
it's still
still
a
a thing,
thing.
but it's
It's
like I mean, it's
pero
just
parang
not.
mas toned down na
It's just
siya
not.
right now.
Yeah.
Kasi you
I
already
mean
have
that it's
Dimension
more toned
20.
down because I'd say it's still a thing, but it's not strictly the Mercer effect. It would probably die down from people like knowing that exists, right? Like being aware that it exists. That's why people would be more wary of it. But like it still doesn't change how like a lot of DMs can still like compare themselves to like if not Matt, then at least try to emulate the other known DMs. Like there's like the holy trinity of like Matt Mercer, Brendan Lee Mulligan, like Abria. Like it's not just strictly Matt anymore. There's more
Mm.
people that you can look at and like get that
Actually,
idea
if
from.
I would add a DM to that list, si Chris Perkins. Chris Perkins
Oh,
is the
Oh
biggest
yeah.
winner. Pero yeah, I guess
yeah.
adult na siya ngayon, 'di ba? Kasi alam ko every time or parang the OG, the pinaka OG group that does live plays before, yung Acquisitions Incorporated. Sila yung pinaka
Oh,
they do that on
honestly, I
Comic
didn't.
Con and all that. Yeah. Pero
To be
yeah,
honest,
they're
I
really
didn't
overall.
even. Damn, I didn't even know that Acquisitions Incorporated was a live play group. I just thought that was a thing in D&D, straight up. To be
No, no.
honest,
So
I mean,
like I've
live play
seen.
group in a sense that they do it on stage. Like they
yeah,
present it
it's
on ano to.
Yeah, but
yeah,
like so I didn't realize that came from a live play group. Like I remember, like in my freaking random like scrolling through D&D shit that I just do, where I'm like, ooh, like what are stuff from this source book? I thought it was just a source book.
No,
It's
no.
from a
That's
live play.
yeah, yeah. That
Oh
was
my
see
god.
that's how old. Yeah, there would be like these super old and gatekeepers now who would be very jaded in a way that parang critical role what? Dapat si acquisitions yan. Kasi ganito, ganyan. They were the OG. Why crit role? Parang ganun. I could just argue and said crit role just right place, right time. Kasi Acquisition
Yeah.
Incorporated was like early 4th edition, 5th. I mean, para sa Acquisition Incorporated was like good partners with
Yeah.
Wizards na parang sila yung nagwa-market nga of D&D and all that, doing that stuff. And yeah, unfortunately, yeah, Crit Role was better at marketing D&D 5th edition. And I also remember, di ba, afterwards nga, nung sa peak nga rin ng Crit Role, there happened to be like yung mga celebrity run games nga, like sila
Yeah.
Joe Manganiello, they would get yung mga celebrity friends nila. And
Jack
it hits
Black
different.
was
Yeah,
one
yeah.
of the most prominent one. But yeah, it's different with Jack Black kasi Jack Black when he's like on screen, he's like a YouTube content creator for some reason. He doesn't exude that level of like A-list actor.
Yeah.
He's just like such a chill guy.
Yeah, he just gives zero fucks and he just goes,
yeah.
he says what he's thinking, he does. Yeah. I guess that's also why nga hindi rin nag-launch. Kasi alala ko yun yung initiative rin ng Wizards back then to match Critical Role. And they can't talaga. Iba talaga ang hit ni Critical Role. And then yeah, flash forward nga ito, Dimension 20 suddenly out of left field. I thought initially talaga before Dimension 20 like blew up, I thought talaga Critical Role would just, you know, just stay there. Like, who would top that? Parang ganun. Until yung na-point out na lang sa akin yung Dimension 20. Actually, na-point out lang sa akin dahil na-mention rin sa akin na they used Tailspire for one game nila or something. I was like, oh, talaga?
Yeah, they
did.
Then I was like, oh, okay. Interesting.
Pero what's then? Like what's interesting and
That's
like
how a lot of people found it.
2 points going into that. Crit Role and D20 are they are not necessarily like topping one over the other. It's a weird collaboration between these two giants because Matt Mercer DMs in D20. Brennan D. Mulligan recently, like a few months ago, DM'd a miniseries in Critical Role. Their players switch as well. Players in D20 go on to Crit Role and vice versa. So they sort of and it is smart. It's like they're taking the concept of early YouTube collaborations and putting it in a grander scale.
Parang merging two communities na para mas bigger yung impact. Yeah, that was
which is
YouTube,
really smart.
It's really
and going back then to how like Dimension 20 is and how they came to be. The people that are on there are actually like they had a solid following with college humor before they started that entire scene. So it's like what they did was build a platform first, build a community, and then introduce like things that they liked and see if it clicked. And it did so well.
Yeah. College humor died down a bit in some years. But they were still able to like garner their own following and like dedicated fans. So like it wasn't hard for like them to pick themselves back up when they actually did like experiment in new things and like get down like their like the shows that became like their core, you know, because they had enough of that following still sticking around and like just honestly good quality shows to back them up. It's like they were able to like build themselves back up, you know. At least that's how I can like sort of see that.
And going into like I don't know if you guys know this, but Smosh has their own D&D series.
Yeah.
I
haven't watched it yet, but it's there.
Released episode 1 with Damien Haas being the DM. And it's a cool side to see naman of the D&D content creating community, because the way that they do this, because they're this time they're all actors, not voice actors. They're not
they're comedians.
Yeah, they're comedians and they're
comedians.
So straight up improv galore,
yeah. It is interesting to see, and I would say like Damien Haas would be the solid voice actor that's there because he made that career for himself. But yeah, it's like this four player group party that is like centered on what essentially is this like comedic actors, and seeing them come into the scene, it is going to be like an interesting sort of like environment to see how it grows, because their first episode was a huge hit. It was a huge success among their community. They were if like you would look through the Smosh Games channel and how their views were doing, they were averaging around 100 to 300,000 views. And with the D&D first episode that they released, it doubled the amount. So
Yeah.
I think it got 500K around 12 hours
yeah.
Wow.
after it released.
Mhm.
So there's still like room for, so you have yung serious series style like Critical Role.
Mhm.
You have your random chaotic vibes of Dimension 20, and then you have your improv in Smosh. That's smart.
But I yung sa Smosh kasi parang they're riding the coattails nung yung pag-release nung pagbalik ng founders nila.
Yeah.
I
Oh
think
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
that's why yun din yung isang reason, 'di ba?
Mm.
Parang tumaas yung following din nila or
It
mas
I
did.
mean, like,
It came back for the most part.
definitely,
Ganun.
it came
came
back,
back to
definitely, man.
mainstream.
It came back.
Yeah.
naging
Pero
mainstream ulit sila. Than
Whether it became mainstream is something that we have yet to say, because they haven't. I don't think they've stuck
I
around
guess for
long
the
enough
D&D
for it to be
community,
mainstream, but it's definitely got
pero
people talking.
for the
For the
community of
D&D
D&D,
community,
yeah.
the community though.
Tabletop, yeah.
Thanks for listening in to another session of Tavern Talk. I know the discussion is kind of short because the topic is quite interesting, but don't worry. We're going to continue the discussion with DM Sesame next episode and also answer some of the questions that you've sent to our Facebook page. Now, some house cleaning before we go. Don't forget to follow Dice Reno on Instagram for your dice and 3D printed needs, and also support DM Sesame and Gigi by subscribing to Wooden D20 on YouTube and following them on Facebook. I'll put the link down below for you to support them. And also, follow and like our Facebook page, Tavern Talk PH, on Facebook for more updates. Last but not the least, like this video and don't forget to subscribe to Tavern Talk. Thanks everyone. See you next session.